Welcome back to the I Love Science show.
Woo!
Today is going to be a very special episode as this is our season finale where we're going to recap neurons with Dr. Pierce.
Woo!
And we're going to discuss a new topic called schizophrenia with Dr. Hippert and her team.
Yay!
So can anyone tell me what we learned about neurons last time? Oh my god. You with the brown hair.
Neurons let us play outside and eat ice cream.
Girl in the gray, are you okay?
No, I have a scratch.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That was correct. Now that we know everyone's okay, let me explain neurons once again a little more in depth. So neurons are specialized in conveying sensory information into the brain and out to the muscles and organs. They have many responsibilities that are necessary for human functioning, including movement, thoughts, memories, emotions, and actions.
Where's Dr. Pierce?
Now to go more in depth, we'll bring in Dr. Pierce to discuss neurons. Please help me in welcoming Dr. Pierce.
I missed you guys so much. Alright, so now we're going to discuss the types of neurons. So you have motor neurons that carry commands to your muscles and organs so they let you play outside. You have sensory neurons that carry information from the body and the outside world into your brain and spinal cord. And then you have interneurons that connect one neuron to another in the brain or spinal cord. That's 3 words. Okay, now that the neuron is labeled, let's discuss. Okay, so this is our neuron, and so the 4 main parts of a neuron is the dendrites, which are right here, the cell body, which is this area, and then the nucleus, which is in the middle, and then you have your axon here. Your Schwann cells are in the center of each, like on top of the axon, and then the myelin sheath is what surrounds the Schwann cells, and then you have the axon terminals at the very end. So your dendrites receive the information, and then they transmit electrical impulses down the axon to the axon terminals where they send out the information to the next neuron.
Now we're going to be moving on to our next topic, which is schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is a brain disorder that disables brain functioning and ability to a person to think clearly. People with it interpret reality differently and their imagination becomes real life. Now we're going to bring in Dr. Hippert and her team to discuss a real life example of schizophrenia. Please help me in welcoming Dr. Hippert and her team.
Hi everyone, I'm Alex. So, brain imaging shows that people with schizophrenia have less grey matter volume, especially in the temporal or frontal lobes. These areas of the brain are important for thinking and judgment, but what's more, grey matter loss continues over time.
Disclaimer, don't take candy from strangers, and remember, not all dogs are friendly. So, dopamine is a chemical released in the brain that makes you feel good. It is also a neurotransmitter, so it allows the cells to communicate with each other. It is thought that there is excessive dopamine in the brain when you have schizophrenia, and that's what causes the symptoms. So, in addition, those with schizophrenia have a decreased amount of white and grey matter in the brain, which is also seen in patients that have dementia and Huntington's.
Okay, so there are various symptoms of schizophrenia. Firstly, we have the positive symptoms, which are things that increase if you have schizophrenia. So these are things like delusions, hallucinations, irrational thoughts, and increased levels of disorganization. The negative symptoms are those that decrease if you have schizophrenia. This is things like a loss of normal behaviors, lower levels of speech and socialization behaviors, and as well as anhedonia, which is the inability to feel pressure.
Hi, I'm Dr. Hippert, and has anyone in this class ever heard of David Berkowitz?
No! Who is he?
Well, actually, David Berkowitz was originally born with the name Richard David Valco. It was born June 1st of 1953, but shortly he was given up for adoption only a few days after he was born. Once he was adopted, he was noted for having trouble, like setting fires and also doing thiefy things.
Not thievy things!
Yes, kids, thievy things. But y'all don't do that. But later on in his stages in life, he joined the army at 17. Then he was discharged from the army. Later on, after the army, he went to go find his real birth mother when his birth details came out. Experts believe in this moment of finding out his birth information, he entered his state of crisis and his world changed.
Ooh!
What did David Berkowitz do? David Berkowitz began his killings in 1975. He mostly targeted young girls and couples in uncrowded areas. The couples he targeted were sitting in cars. In 1976, he began killing dogs, specifically German Shepherds, and his landlord's Black Labrador. After his arrest, he claimed that his landlord's dog talked to him on behalf of Satan and told him to commit these crimes. When it comes to schizophrenia, we think there needs to be more research done on schizophrenia itself and more focus on a new generation of drugs aimed at other neurotransmitters. Most schizophrenia medicines target the dopamine receptor, but if the drugs are aimed at other neurotransmitters, then cognitive symptoms or problems with memory, thinking, and judgment can be affected. The medicine is effective, but needs to be more readily available for those who need it. Okay, kids, now it's time for our Q&A section. And for our Q&A section, we brought back Dr. Pierce.
Yay!
All right, so who wants to ask our first question? You.
How many people did the guy kill?
David Berkowitz was found guilty for committing 6 murders, but we're not exactly sure of how many people he killed total.
Okay, does anyone have another question?
You! Why did he do it?
Okay, so the reason he did it is because he had schizophrenia, so he had some symptoms of hallucinations where his dog was telling him to kill people, and he really wanted to be friends with his dog, so he just did it.
Who wants to ask the third question? You again.
Where did this happen?
New York.
Okay, who has the last question?
You! How does a neuron get its information?
So the neuron gets its information from the body sending signals to the brain, and then the brain sends electrical impulses to the dendrites, and then that is how it happens.
Thanks for watching!